Hi everyone, welcome. I am so excited that you clicked on this video and that you are going to do a short yoga practice with us. We are the teachers of Stillness Movement, a virtual yoga studio that I founded. My name is Francesca Cervero. I live in Tacoma Park, Maryland, and I teach a class just for yoga teachers, as well as a level 1-2 Vinyasa practice. This practice that you're going to do today is going to be a really nice, short, relaxing, grounding, but kind of active and energizing practice that prepares your body for downward facing dog. So it's a great introduction to the way that we teach and practice at Stillness Movement. And these with me here are the other teachers. So I'll let them very briefly introduce themselves to you.
Hi, I'm Samantha Harrison. I live in Greenville, North Carolina, and I teach the level 2 classes.
Hi, I'm Hannah Davis. I live in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I teach level 1.
I'm Geneva Jimreva. I live in Washington, D.C., and I teach gentle yoga.
I'm Megan Spears, and I live in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, Oklahoma specifically, and I teach the level 1-2 Vinyasa class.
Great. So let's go to our mats and come into child's pose, please, to start our practice today. If child's pose is not comfortable for you, you could also start this practice lying down on your back with your knees bent, your feet flat on the floor. So whichever shape is most comfortable for you, I invite you to rest your eyes closed. Release any tension that you can sense in your jaw. Just notice what your breath feels like. And as you're feeling your natural breath, also start to notice how your mind feels, how your heart feels today. And if you're feeling a little frantic, a little frazzled, then I'd like for you to put your attention on your breath out and make your breath out a little bit longer than your breath in. If you're feeling a little sluggish or a little sleepy, then I invite for you to put your attention on your breath in. And when you inhale, make it a nice, bright, fresh inhale and wake yourself up a little bit. So we're using our attention and our breath to move our nervous system and our mind towards a state of balance. Let's just take 3 more cycles of breath like this here together, focusing on the part of the breath that you need to feel a little bit more grounded and settled. You can shift your weight now forward into your hands so that you're on your hands and knees, you're on all fours. And I want you to just take a breath in up there on your hands and your knees. And then as you exhale, shift your hips back to child's pose. So we're going to do a rocking child's pose movement where as you inhale, you shift your weight forward onto hands and knees. And as you exhale, you shift your hips back towards your heels a little or a lot. And you can have the tops of your feet on the floor or you can have your toes tucked. But keep focusing on the part of the breath that is helping you feel more balanced. So again, if you need more grounding, if you're feeling frazzled, you'll take a longer exhale, put more of your attention and your emphasis there. If you're feeling tired or kind of spacey, take a brighter breath in. We'll take 2 more cycles like this. And then we'll meet up on hands and knees. And you'll keep your knees pointed still towards the front of your mat. And walk your hands to the right. So we're going to do like a child's pose side stretch variation. So you'll reach your left arm away from you, take a nice big breath in, and then as you exhale, pull your hips back to your heels. You could go all the way, so you slide your hands on the floor or just keep your tush in the air. And then how about we rock this as well? So you rock forward as you breathe in, and you take your hips back as you breathe out. And you can keep rocking here. Or if you'd prefer to stay still, you can just stay in your child's pose side stretch. But we'll take 3 more cycles of breath, moving in this rocking movement, or just taking a few breaths in stillness in your child's pose side stretch. When you're ready, you'll shift your weight back into your hands. Walk your hands back to center. And we're going to keep working on just one side to start. So you're on all fours. We're not going to do the second side just yet. We're still kind of right in the center. We're going to start to open up your legs. So I want you to take your right leg and extend it straight out to the side. It's like gait pose, if you know that. So your right foot is in line with your left knee. And you can have your foot flat on the floor, or you can have your toes and your knee pointed to the ceiling. And then make a little cow shape in your spine. So you point your tailbone up, you reach your chest forward, and then we're going to bring the rocking back. So you take a breath in on hands and knees here, and as you exhale, you can shift your whole torso and your pelvis back just a little, or maybe a lot. For most people, this intensifies the stretch on the right inner thigh, so you might not want to go too far if it feels like a lot. And Hannah's doing this with blocks under her hands, which is a very good idea to give yourself a little bit more space. And like with everything we're doing here today, you can keep moving, inhaling as you shift forward and exhaling as you shift back. Or if you find a position that feels good to be still in, then you're invited to just be still, always being guided by what feels most interesting and most comfortable to you. And watch 2 more cycles of breath come in and out here. And we'll meet back up on our hands, weight on our hands. Right knee comes to the floor, so you're on all fours, hands and knees. And then we'll take that much to the second side. So you'll walk both of your hands to the left. You'll reach your right arm forward and away from you. Press your right hand down to the floor, and then pull your hips away from your right hand, just a little or a lot. You can see how much you want to move. And then you pay attention to your breath and let it move you, shifting your weight back into your hands as you inhale, and hips towards your heels as you exhale. Yeah, good. And then as always, you can opt to keep moving in and out of the shape, or you can be still. And you can even do something different on this side than you did on the first side. Let's take about 3 more cycles of breath here. Shift your weight into your hands. Walk your hands back to center so your fingertips are pointing towards the front of the mat. Shoulders over your wrist, hips over your knees, and we'll do this rocking gait pose variation. You'll take your left leg out to the left. Your foot will be in line with your knee, shoulders over your wrist. And then a little cow in your spine. So reach your chest forward, let your tailbone point up, take a breath in, and then just a little shift back of your pelvis, of your torso. Yeah. And then shift forward. It might ease up on the stretch a little bit. And shift back. You can keep moving if you want, or if you find a spot that feels like a nice stretch, you can just stay there. And Geneva's come down onto her forearms, probably to give her wrists a break, which is a great idea, so you could do that as well if you'd like. Last couple of breaths here. Let's meet up with weight in our hands so you can replace your left knee down on the floor. And then bring your hips back into your heels just for a moment in child's pose. And I want you to see if anything feels different in your body or your breath or your mind, just from those few very simple rocking movements. If you're feeling a little bit more grounded now, you could put your attention on the breath in to bring in a little bit more bright energy. Or if you're feeling a little more awake, you could shift your awareness to your breath out, let it be nice and long, and help you ground your attention right here where you are. And use an inhale to shift your weight forward onto your hands. And then I want you to bend your elbows and lower yourself so that you're all the way laying down on your belly. So you can walk your hands forward, walk your knees back, bend your elbows, however it makes the most sense for you to get down there. And you can stack your hands and rest your forehead underneath your hands if that is comfortable for you. And then I want you to keep your ribs, your waist, your pelvis super still and nice and slowly bend your right knee. So you're squeezing your heel to your butt. It's pretty common for your right hip to pop up off the floor, but I want you to try to not let that happen. Try to keep your right hip nice and flat. Even thinking about dropping your tailbone down between your inner thighs. So you might be feeling some work in your right hamstring. It might even feel like it's on the verge of cramping. Work is good as long as it doesn't feel like it's too much. You might also feel some stretch in the front of your right thigh. That's also probably a good thing. See if you can hold this leg like this without using your calf muscle in your lower leg on your right side. So relax your right foot, relax your right ankle. Keep doing this work in your right leg, but stay soft in your throat. If you feel like you want a little bit more challenge, you could try and lift just your kneecap only up off the floor, keeping your right hip and your right thigh down on the floor. You don't have to do that if it feels like too much. Let's all take one more breath here. And then extend your right knee, reach your foot away from your pelvis. Stretch your whole right leg super long, so your foot's stretching away from your right shoulder, right side gets longer. See if you can sense a difference between your right side and your left side. And then bend your left knee, squeeze your left heel into your butt. Again, try to have your right foot and ankle relaxed so that you're not getting help from your gastrocnemius, your calf muscle, but you're just really focusing on using your hamstring. Heel squeezes in, front of the pelvis stays flat. You can do a little bit of core work here, thinking about kind of narrowing your side waist into your midline. Like your two front hip points could draw towards each other for some stability. And then if you feel like you want to add a little bit more work, a little bit more challenge, you lift your left knee up off the floor. You don't have to do that, especially if it feels like it's creating a lot of tension in your back. I would just leave that alone for now because we're really focused on your leg. We don't really want your lower back to be doing too much here. We've got a couple more breaths. Make sure you're not gritting your teeth or furrowing your brow, but there's a softness there. And then extend your left leg nice and straight. Reach your foot away from your pelvis. Reach it super long. Great. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself up onto hands and knees into all fours. And then check the placement of your hands. Try to have even spacing between all your fingers, so you don't have that like pinky finger winging too far out to the side. And you've got your knuckles and your fingers and your fingertips really nicely grounded on the floor. And inhale into cow pose. It's a little back bend. You point your tailbone up, you reach your chest forward. And exhale into cat pose. Draw your belly in, stretch your low back, release the back of the neck. 2 more cycles of breath like that. Inhale into cow pose. And exhale, cat. Inhale into cow. And exhale into cat. And come into a neutral spine as you take your next breath in. And then tuck your toes under. If they're not already, lift your knees off the floor and shift your hips up and back into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. The hips are high, you're making a V shape with your body. You could bend your knees, and that might make it a little easier to shift the weight out of your arms and into your legs. You want to think about letting your belly move towards your thighs as your sternum, your breastbone, reaches forward between your thumbs. And take a few cycles of whole body breath here, letting your breath move out to the edges of your skin. Letting your thinking mind, the planning, the processing, the narrating, just take a little step back into the background, recede into the background, and all of your attention on your breath here in the foreground of your awareness. We'll take 2 more rounds of breath all together. And then really nice and slowly walk your hands all the way back to your feet. Drop your heels to the floor, let your butt point to the ceiling. Certainly bend your knees if that feels more comfortable. And you could put your hands on your shins for a little support. You could put your hands on your knees for a little support, but try and let your chin drop down into your throat. And press your legs away from each other so your outer hips are engaged. You give yourself a little bit of stability. And then very slowly roll yourself up to stand. Let one bone stack on top of the other. Yeah, nice. Have your lungs stacked over your pelvis. The crown of your head floats up. Yeah, you can have your little shirt fixing moment, kind of adjust, make sure you like how you feel in standing, and then close your eyes. And notice how you're feeling. Just know that your breath is here to support you. If you're feeling frazzled, if you're feeling frantic, just take a longer breath out. If you're feeling spacey or tired, take a nice big bright breath in. But your breathing directly affects your nervous system, and you can use your attention on your breath to just help you move towards a state of balance. Let's take 3 cycles of breath together here, just focusing on the part of the breath that we most need in this moment. And let's bring our palms together in Anjali Mudra, just right at our chest, right at our heart center. And if you'd like, you can close your practice by just offering a little bow to yourself, to the other people practicing with you, and may we open to awareness for the benefit of all beings. Thank you so much for practicing. Thank you so much for being here. Stillness and Movement teachers, and everyone watching this video later. We so appreciate you. We would love to have you in class. So you can go to stillnessandmovement.com to learn more about our studio and to sign up and practice with us. And you can use the code NEWSTUDENT to take your first class free. Thanks so much. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.